Very good morning and welcome all of you to this pre-market session. Today in this session, let us prepare our next action plan for the day, and we'll start with the dogmatic method, that too in Nifty and Bank Nifty. So as you look at Bank Nifty here, as you know that we are holding on to the call option. Now this is a point initially where it had told us to buy a call option, and after that we are currently holding on to it. But as the price started moving up yesterday at these points, so we would have definitely shifted over to secure our profits. Now, after securing our profits, we are currently waiting for this action information to tell us exit call option. Now, until that happens, we will hold on to the call option here. But in the meantime, if the price continues to increase today, and if there is a dynamic system caution on top, once again, then without fail, we must secure our profits. There's one very important thing that you have to do. And if instead of price going up, if the price manages to come down, and if this intraday 3-speed signal gives you a sell, and if it tells you to buy a put option, then since intraday 3 long and intra-week long are still in buy, we must check the Tenkai signal to decide whether to do this trade or not to do this trade. So this is for Bank Nifty. So let us check what's happening in Nifty. Nifty is also very similar to what is happening in Bank Nifty. As you can see, we are still holding on to the call option. Now, even yesterday, right at the top, there was an opportunity for us to secure our profits by shifting over. That we have done already. So after doing that, now if the price manages to go up further, and if there is any DMBOTS on top or any dynamic caution on top, we can once again shift over, and that will be the third time we can shift over. But if it manages to come down, and if intraday 3-speed signal gives a sell, and if this action information says buy put option, in such a case, we have to check the Tenkai signal to decide whether to do this trade or not to do this trade, because intraday 3 long and intra-week long are still in buy. Even as per dynamic system level 2 trading method, we are still holding on to the buy positions. So this is about Nifty and Bank Nifty as per the dogmatic method. Now let us check the same Nifty and Bank Nifty as per the dynamic system level 2 trading method. Just hold on for a few seconds. Let me zoom in. So this is what is happening in Nifty. As you are all aware that the price did manage to move up yesterday, and there is no trend edge point yet in Nifty. So we will use a range 4 or speed signal, whichever is lowest. We will reduce 0.5% from there. So range 4 is 11,367 and speed signal is 11,334. So speed signal is the lowest point. So when we reduce 0.5% from here, then the number comes out to be 11,277. So if the price of Nifty trades below 11,277 today, only then we will think about exiting long and getting into a short trade. But until then, we can continue to hold our long position. So this is about Nifty. Let us check what's happening in Bank Nifty. So this is Bank Nifty. Even in Bank Nifty, we saw some good up movement happening yesterday, and there is no trend edge pointed on top. So our exit point will be range 4 or speed signal, whichever is lowest. So when we consider that, then what is the value it comes out to be? So range 4 is 22,260 and speed signal is 22,090. So let us calculate 0.5% on it. It is 111 points. So it is 21,979. So if the price of Bank Nifty trades below 21,979, only then we will think about a long exit and getting into a short trade. But until then, we can still hold on to our, the long positions. So this is of Bank Nifty and Nifty as per the dynamic system level 2 trading method. Now let us check the same Nifty and Bank Nifty as per the dynamic superpower trading method. Now here is Nifty, and you all know that after this yesterday's up movement, we are clearly holding on to the long positions in Nifty as of now. And as we hold on to the long position, there is a major caution on top. That is the weekly caution on top with a C8 strength. The strength is increasing, and you can see even the NDC straddle is a C13. And it is also supported by NMC with a C3. So the pressure on top is piling up. But any which ways, as of now, it is still in an uptrend. So once the price comes down and if intra-week long signal manages to confirm the sell, that is when we will see some downward pressure happening. But until then, we will focus, for upward movements. So if the price manages to come down, if there is any better confirmation like intraday 1 long or intraday 3 speed, that is when we can go ahead, exit the long trade and get into a short trade. So even if we get into a short trade, any edge point or zigzag at the bottom in intraday 3 or an intra-week, we can use it to exit short and get back into long. And once you get into a long trade and as the price goes up, any edge point or zigzag once again on top, you can exit long and get into a short. So this is how you can plan up for Nifty. So let us check what's happening in Bank Nifty. So there is a Bank Nifty. Even in Bank Nifty, you know that we are holding on to the long position. Now, as we hold on to the long position after the yesterday's movement, now there is a major weekly caution on top with the C2 strength and C4 straddle on top. So if the price manages to come down, we will wait for the better confirmation. But then you know that in the dynamic system, the weekly trend is at around the 23,200 ranges. So if the price manages to go up till 23,200 ranges, and from there, if it starts coming down and if there is any better confirmation, and after we exit long and get into a short trade, even if the price manages to come down to any long signal edge point, then we can shift over and wait by holding the put options there. And if the price manages to go up after that, then wait for intraday 3 speed signal to give you a buy without any caution. Okay, so this is how we are going to plan it. And if the price manages to come down and reaches any C1D caution at the bottom, then we will wait for a better confirmation to exit short and get into a long trade. So this is what we will plan for Bank Nifty. But as of now, if the price manages to go up and if it reaches any new dynamic caution on top, don't forget to shift over to secure your profits. Okay, so this is about Bank Nifty using dynamic superpower trading method. If you have any other questions or doubts within this, you can ask me now. If there are no doubts, then you can text me that there are no doubts. All right, now looks like there are no doubts till this particular point. Now, if you have any of your favorite stock or index that you want to check as per the dynamic live Dowmantic method, you can text me now. We can go about checking them and we can see what is the plan for the day. Now, anyways, Mr. Surdeep has asked, can you check Deepak fertilizer? Now, Mr. Surdeep, first of all, are you planning for investment, either short-term investment or long-term investment in this particular stock, or are you planning for trading? Right? If you are planning for trading, then I will look at Dynamic Live. If you want to do any investment, either for short-term or long-term, then I can check Dynamic System and tell you what exactly is happening in this particular script. So I will wait for your reply to check this stock. Now, Mr. Natraj Murthy says Reliance 2200 call option. What could the movement be today? Now, as far as Reliance is concerned, so this is Reliance here. You can see here in Reliance, it is still telling us to hold the put option, but then earlier once it told us to get into a put option. Later, as the price started coming down, there were some dynamic system cautions at the bottom wherein we have already secured our profits. Now, after securing our profits, the price did go up. Intraday 3 speed signal has given us a buy, but it gave a buy with a ID3 long signal edge. So that is the reason it is asking us to hold the put option. So as of now, we will wait. But if the price manages to go up, and if intraday 3 long signal, or even if intra-week long signal gives you a buy, that is when you can start seeing some upward movement, Mr. Natraj Murthy. But then, until then, you have to wait. Okay, so this is what is happening in Reliance. So, all right, Mr. Surdeep wants to check this Deepak fertilizer for trading purpose. So, let us see Deepak fertilizers. So there's Deepak fertilizers. As you can see here, the Dowmantic method is telling us to hold call option. It is somewhere at this point where it initially told us to buy the call option. It was yesterday, that is not yesterday, the previous trading day, 21st of August. At around 15:30. So yesterday morning at the opening, we could have bought it somewhere at around 165 or even close to 170 ranges if it was a gap up there. But after buying it, the price has managed to move up till 179.95. We are still holding on to the call option. Wait until it very clearly tells you to exit the trade. That is when you can go ahead and exit the trade. But then this stock is not there in futures and options. If it was there in options, if we had done this trade, we must have already secured our profit right at the top. And ICICI Bank is what you want to check. So there's ICICI Bank. You can see that it is telling us to hold call option. We would have already bought a call option somewhere at this, either this intraday 3 long signal buy, or maybe somewhere close to this intra-week long signal edge point. But wherever we have bought it, as of now, we are holding on to it. Even if you bought it somewhere in the middle, somewhere here, now the price would have been at around 374.75, and it has managed to close at 380.35 ranges. And there has been a DMBTS right at the top yesterday before closing. So we would have already secured our profits right at the top. Now we are waiting for it to tell us to exit the trade. That is when we can go ahead and do the exiting thing. So this is about ICICI Bank. Now Mr. Sampath Kumar wants to check about, he wants to check about Nifty, Maruti and Tata Steel. So let us check it. So I have just selected Nifty, and as I told you earlier, in Nifty we are holding on to the call option, but then yesterday we have already secured the profit in Nifty for the second time after the entry was initiated. Now we are waiting until it tells us to exit the call option. So there's one thing that we have to do, but if it tells you to buy a put option, then you must check the Tenkai signal to decide whether to do the trade or not to do the trade. There's one point that you have to keep in mind. Similarly, let us check what's happening in Maruti. In Maruti, you can see that it is telling us to hold put option. So this is the point where yesterday it has told us to buy a put option. It was, at 14 hours, 2 o'clock, not 2 o'clock, 1:30 in the afternoon, when the price was 7,014, where you could have taken a short, and after that the price has moved up to 7,082, where it has closed. But we are still holding on to the put option. We will wait until it tells us to exit put and buy a call, so we can hold on to that. But if the price manages to come down today, and if it reaches any intraday 3 long signal edge point, then it is going to definitely ask you to exit the trade. So be prepared for this. And Tata Steel. So in Tata Steel, you can see that it is telling us stay tuned for the next trade. So there is no trading opportunity as of now. In spite of this intraday 3 long signal giving us a sell, it has given us a sell with an intra-week long signal edge point. It is very clearly written in the reason. You can see that intra-week long signal edge point. So we have not got any trading opportunity. But the preparation is telling us get ready to buy a put option. So if the price manages to trade below this intra-week long signal, that is when it is going to tell us to buy a put option, but until then we have to wait. So this is about Tata Steel. Now Mr. Jigar wants to check Silver Micro. For that we have to go through dynamic system. Just hold on a second. So let us check what's happening in Silver Micro. Now, is it the first month contract that we are supposed to check, Jigarji? I think the expiry date is 31st of August. So yeah, we'll go through the first month until 26, 5 days before the expiry date. We will shift our trading to the second month contract. So there's one point that you have to remember. So Silver Micro seems to have reached a very clear trend edge point at the bottom. Now, if you have been holding on to a short position in Silver Micro, you know that now it has reached a trend edge point at the bottom. So you have to use range 3 buy above to exit your trade. So range 3 buy above is 65,039. So if the price of silver micro trades above 65,039, that is when you can exit your short positions. After exiting your short position, if the price manages to increase, then you can get into a long trade at range 1 by above, which is 68,718. So these are the two important numbers. But then once you exit at range 3 by about today, if the price manages to decrease even further, then we will not get into any trade. We will wait until the price closes below the speed trend to take the next action. Okay, so this is for silver micro. Ms. Rajani has asked for SBI. So let us check what's happening in SBI. So there's SBI, and SBI you can see here it has told us to buy call option yesterday just before the market closed, somewhere at around 2:55 in the afternoon, and we would have bought it, and the price has managed to close just hardly 50-60 paise below our entry price, but we are still holding on to it. We will wait until it very clearly tells us to exit the call option. So even here you can see it says sideways end sign, so there is no sideways movement here. So we just have to wait. But if the price manages to go up and if there is any new dynamic caution on top, then don't forget to secure your profits. Mr. Surdeep wants to check Bajaj Finserv. Let us check Bajaj Finserv. So here is Bajaj Finserv. You can see here the action says stay tuned for the next trade. So there is no trade as of now. But earlier, after it told us to buy a call option as the price moved up, there is a series of zigzag in intraday 3 as well as in intra-week, because of which it has told us to exit the trade. But anyways, the reason is also telling us that it is in sideways now. So we have to wait for the next clear opportunity to get into Bajaj Finserv. And Mr. Ravi Raju wants to check gold mini. So let's see what's happening in gold mini. So this is the first month contract that we are checking for gold mini. So let's see this. So in gold mini, you can see that the price has managed to come down after going up, and I'm sure by at range 4 sell below, you would have gone for a short trade. Now after getting into a short trade, now if the price manages to reach this the mid trend or the long trend edge point at the bottom, which is somewhere at around 49,980 is the edge point at the bottom. So if it reaches there, that is when we can go ahead, use the range 3 buy about to exit the short positions. If not, and if the price manages to go up directly, then we will wait for range 1 or speed signal, whichever is highest, so we can place 0.5% extra. So range 1 is 52,626. So add 0.5% to that. That will be the point for you to exit short and get into long. But or else you can continue to hold your short position as of now. So let us check what's happening in Dr. Reddy, as Mr. Vinod Kumar has asked for Dr. Reddy. So this is Dr. Reddy here, Mr. Vinod Kumar. You can see that it has told us to exit put and buy a call option yesterday, somewhere at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And once we have bought a call option, now the price has managed to close somewhere at around the same ranges where we have bought. And The preparation is telling us get ready to exit call option. So at least for the first 5 minutes, once the market opens, you have to watch it very closely. There are chances it can ask you to exit, but if the price manages to open higher and if it starts going up, then you may get an exit at a higher level. So until then, you have to wait here. Now, Mr. Mohit Kumar wants to check Bank Nifty and Airtel. Now, let us check what's happening in Bank Nifty and Airtel. Bank Nifty, as I told you, Mr. Mohit Kumar, we are currently holding on to the long position. There's a point where it told us to buy, and it was on 21st of August, 9:30 in the morning. Price was 22,287, and after that, the price managed to move up. Right at the stop, we have already secured our profits in options. Now we are waiting for it to very clearly tell us to exit the call option. So this is what is happening in Bank Nifty. But if the price manages to come down and if it tells you to buy a put option, you must check the Tenkai signal to decide whether to do this trade or not to do this trade. And you want to check Bharti Airtel. So let us check Bharti Airtel. Well, this is very interesting what is happening in Bharti Airtel, because in spite of the price decreasing, the intra-week long signal has still not given us a sell. And right at the bottom, there is a weekly caution with a zigzag with a C6 strength. There is a C1 NMC as well. So everything is pointing upward, but we can also see that the reason it is telling us sideways start sign. So it is still in the buying mode. But anyone who has bought a Bharti Airtel, now today you have to be prepared for an exit, because there is a zigzag preparation on top. In the first 5 minutes after the market opens, there are chances it can tell you to exit the call option. But if the price continues to move up, and if it comes closer to this previous dynamic caution on top, please don't forget to secure your profit. Shift over. Okay. So this is the plan for Bharti Airtel. Mr. Sunny wants to check Manappuram. So let us check what's happening in Manappuram. Now in Manappuram, you can see that it is telling us to hold call option. It has already told us to buy a call option once this intraday 3-speed signal had given us a buy. Now after that, we are holding on to it, but we will wait until it very clearly tells us to exit the call option. Okay, so this is what is happening in Manappuram. Any other questions or doubts? Mr. Srinath wants to check Asian Paint. Well, this is Asian Paint. You can see that it is telling us to hold put option. There's a point where it had told us to buy a put option. It was on 24th of August, 12:30 in the afternoon. You could have taken a shot at 1,951, or you could have bought a put option at around the same ranges. But after that, the price has managed to move up slightly and closed on a higher note. But if it tries to come down, and if it reaches close to this intraday 3 long signal edge point, that is when it is going to tell you to exit the put option. But until then, you have to hold on to your put here. All right. Now, in the meantime, Mr. Krunal had a thing here. There's some problem. All right. So, Mr. Krunal, what you can do is you can please write a mail to this technical team. That is RC Dynamic System @gmail.com. So this is the email ID of the technical team. Let me tell you that due to these lockdowns and COVID now, most of our technical team, they are working from home. So for that reason, uh, any technical issues that you are facing that you want a solution for, you can write a mail. Okay, so if you have written a mail yesterday at 11:30 p.m., then no problem. Today morning they will respond and they will get it resolved. Okay, because there is no technical team working at that point in time, so you'll have to wait for just few. By 9:30 or before 10 o'clock, I'm sure it will be done. But I hope by then you'll keep your computer ready. Yesterday, whatever issue that you were facing in your computer, I hope it is sorted out. All right, gentlemen, looks like there are no more doubts. So thank you all for joining today's session. Wish you all a happy trading. Wish you all great success today in trading. See you again in the next session. Until then, good morning to all of you. And thank you once again for joining this session. And very good morning to Mr. Prayas Gaikwad. So thank you all of you.